the WBS, which I already did in the software because I felt, I want to do it that way. Sometimes we decide to do things in a different order because it works better for us, so that's acceptable. Yeah, that's fine. The WBS is the breakdown. It's a deliverable-oriented grouping of the project components that organizes and defines the total scope of your project. What you don't see in the WBS is something that we're not going to do. So it should only include things that we want to do. The process of breaking it down is called decomposition. This is what it looks like in software. I've shown you one in software yesterday, and I'll open it again because we're going to be doing scheduling. This is Primavera. You can see that. It is similar to MS Project, but this is a lot more intense, a lot more serious. Here's another example of a WBS. We decompose the total work into smaller pieces, and the smaller pieces will be decomposed even further. So this is the company move in Project Libre. That one. So we had in whole move project, we had actual moving, we had administrative, which under that we put vendor and payments. We had legal, logistics, IT, we had project management activities, new building setup. Wait, let's do this. Under new building setup, we had construction, and then we had inspections. All right. So these represent the WBS, and all we have to do is look at it as a WBS, which is, there it is. So we look at it like this, and it gives us a WBS view, similar to what you're seeing on the slides here. All right. So same idea. So software can help you do this. It's just a matter of indenting, like in Microsoft Word, and then it creates this for you. All right. So that's the WBS. We decompose it, and the reason we decompose is just to make them easier to manage, so that I can assign a team lead on this, team lead on that, separate the responsibilities. And also in software, if it's properly configured, when something goes wrong, you will not need to analyze the whole project. If you have the proper configuration on it, you'll be able to see which one of these boxes is lighting up, and it will mark in red or something depending on the configuration that you did. And then you'll know that you should talk to the team lead who's responsible for that one piece, rather than talking to everybody in the whole project. So it simplifies the way we manage the project. Knowing that every piece is assigned to somebody else means that person that I assigned it to, they are the ones who have to figure out the work that goes into it. So if I know somebody knows the IT work, let's say the network, I can just say the network setup and assign it to a specific person. Let's say Joe is the person who does the IT. I give it to Joe. Joe is responsible for that. I will not get involved. I will get involved as an oversight, but I let Joe tell me what work needs to happen inside the network setup, right? So they will tell me the different pieces. If they feel network setup is too general and too big of a task, and they feel there's a lot more involved, like, wiring, cabling, and then there's maybe even stuff with the wiring cable that happens in the wall and then on the floor, maybe they'll tell us to break it down into smaller pieces, and that way they can also assign their own team leads to these smaller pieces, and it makes it easier to manage. We just keep breaking it down until it's easier to estimate for the effort required, for the time or cost, or for the resource requirements for it. And once we feel that every box, we call these nodes. These are nodes, and the ones on the bottom are called work packages. So once we feel that the nodes have been broken down enough, that we have clear work packages that can be assigned to people to do, not activities, work package. A work package has 2 or more activities. So usually that box that you see there, which is called a work package, represents a bunch of activities, 2 or more, that would have to be done individually. All right. They're not themselves activities. They're called a task. A task that would have several activities underneath. And you saw how I created my WBS. I went into this level, but I could go lower. I kept, every time I was looking at it, I would think that under the actual moving, so we have to cover things first. First, we have to like break the walls down, like the partitions. Then we have to wrap things. Then we have to load them. Then on the truck, then we have to unload and do the reverse over there and then install. So these could be steps that I put in there. And I don't know if there will be big pieces other than these steps. In the moving, I can just say we don't have a piece for packing, right? So I think I could have packing here. So under packing, there will be sealing and packing all items, sealing all boxes. So I want to make these two pieces here subset of a subset of packing, all right? And over here, I want to do furniture. But you see furniture sat on the ceiling like the same level. So what I have to do is I need to push it back so it's the same level as packing. Because now I want packing and furniture move to be two sub pieces of the upper WBS, which is actual moving. So under furniture moves, then I'm going to include breakdown partitions, breakdown large furniture, right? And the ones, so these I'm going to actually move out, indent. So you see packing and furniture. I can break down the partitions here and break down the large furniture, and in packing they will take care of wrapping these items. Okay, so this is furniture and equipment. And break down partitions, break down large furniture, and and then they would wrap all the items here. It doesn't mean that if you have something here, it cannot connect with an activity over there. The WBS just represents the big pieces of your work, so I can shrink this. Now I know in the moving there's packing and furniture and equipment. And administrative, we have vendor management, we have payments. Legal will have several things, maybe things that matter to us here. So I could create another sub WBS for things that matter to the current building, like closing out everything related to this building, and then I'll have things related to the new building, so those will go over there. Now, how you create the WBS, usually it's a team effort. We look at all the pieces. We want to make sure that what we put on our WBS represents all the work that we want to do. All right, so your team has to help you with this. And that's what the WBS is. The ones at the lowest level are considered work packages. So the ones here at the lowest level, like construction, even though it has activities, that's a work package because that's the lowest level of the chain other than activities. That's why I keep shrinking them like that. The activities are not part of the WBS. Although you see them connected like this, we call them activities, we don't call them the WBS. The WBS here ends with like construction, inspection, and so on. These are the WBS items, the ones in bold. These activities will still be called activities, right? So if I want a WBS view, it usually does not include the activities. We don't need to see activities as part of the WBS. I just want to know all the different pieces of the work that will be completed. The process of breaking it down to create a work breakdown structure is called decomposition. And every one of these is a node. That's a node, 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 node. We call node means just a point. Node means a point on your project. And the ones at the lowest level that are not broken down further, maybe only broken down to activities, are called work packages. I'm going to assign packing to someone, to a team lead, furniture and equipment to another team lead, vendor management, somebody else will own it. Or it could be one person that owns a lot. So that's why we create the WBS. It just makes it easier for us to manage. There's a lot of benefits to a WBS. It helps work from slipping through the cracks because you can see it visually on your chart. Provides the team with an understanding of where their pieces will fit into the overall project plan. So if I'm responsible for vendor management, then I know I'm covering a piece of administrative, which is going to support the whole move project. So it really gives an idea of where your work is within the whole picture. Helps prevent changes in the sense that, you know, if it was on the WBS, the contractor cannot tell me that I never knew, or, you know, whatever you see on it is expected to be delivered. So some of the disputes regarding change will disappear. You get team buy-in, builds the team, doesn't really build the team, but builds them more, mentally, motivationally, by people looking at all the different pieces of the solution, knowing that I am doing this, he's doing that, they're responsible for that. It makes it easier for the team to feel connected. Provides a basis for estimating your resource requirements, cost, time, and so on. That's the starting point of a schedule. After the WBS, you create the schedule. All right? The schedule comes after the WBS. Focuses the team's experience on what needs to be done, resulting in higher quality and easier project management. Now, every one of these boxes in the WBS has more details on it. So let me show you here. If I click on the actual moving, I double click here on the two, a box will open up, a dialog box. This box has details like name of this WBS, estimated duration or cost. Right now we don't have any cost in it. Start date, end date, baseline start, baseline finish, what happens before, what happens after, what resources associated with this. You can have other information that you want added into this. We're not going to do these, but you could also add notes over here. So if I add these notes, then you see that it added the notes there. All I have to do is mouse over and I can see my notes there. So what you just saw when I double click any of these, every one of them has its own WBS dictionary. This is called the dictionary. The dialog box here is called the dictionary. That's what they refer to as the WBS dictionary, a document that describes each component in the WBS structure. It gives you more details about it, those details might be important for us. Now, there's more than one way to create a WBS. I'm going to show you one in Microsoft Word. It's not my favorite, but it does exist. Some people don't want to use software. So let me show you what a WBS looks like in Microsoft Word. Here's a WBS. Now, this may look nice to some people, and you'll have to click here to edit anything about it, so you can go change anything you want about it. But if you wanted to add something in the middle between them, it becomes really complicated. How will you fit it all into the same page? So I would prefer not to use this if I have a choice of using software. This is a bit complicated. Down on the second page, this is a WBS dictionary. What it does is it gives you for every one of the WBSs all the details that we care about. Is there specific information you need to have? No, it's up to you, up to the organization what information they have. So you can put the name of that WBS, which is really all that you can really fit visually here. All right, that's all you'll be able to fit is the name of that WBS. But if you want more details, put them in the respective columns down here. What goes into the columns is really up to you. What pieces of information you want to add about every WBS is really up to you. But that's called the WBS dictionary down here. So essentially, if we have the scope statement that has been approved, if we have the WBS and we have the WBS dictionary, then we say that the scope baseline is complete. Now, the word baseline means the line at the base. The word baseline means, I was joking, okay? The word baseline means the agreed to criteria for that specific thing. So here we're talking about scope baseline is the agreed to criteria for scope. So, and the agreed to criteria really is the scope statement. It tells you what we want to deliver. It's depicted visually into a WBS and has more details written in the WBS dictionary. So there should be no doubt in management's mind of what is expected to be done on this project and what should not be expected. All right, and that's why it's called the scope baseline.